You are operating inside a machine. Most people move through this dark, concrete corridor of daily routine, unaware that the walls were built to direct their movement and harvest their effort. This visual scale illustrates the core conversion of the modern worker. You trade a finite, non-renewable resource, your time, for currency units. Note how those units shrink in size the longer they are held. You are trading a fixed asset for a depreciating one. This is an outdated model. By the time that currency is used to turn the central gear of the economy, it has already lost value, leaving the initial dial depleted. It functions as an invisible money trap. The system is designed to extract energy. It applies structural pressure to standard labor through fixed costs and immediate deductions, ensuring that the harder you work, the more the machine consumes in the process. Everyday employment is often sold as a path to wealth, but the mechanics suggest otherwise. It is a closed loop where the worker starts each month at a deficit, laboring to pay for the very tools and status required to keep laboring. We often mistake the comfort of a steady paycheck for actual financial security. But security isn't found in a recurring payment. It's found in the ownership of the source. This graph shows the reality. Your baseline earnings remain flat, while the cost of living climbs steadily. Inflation creates silent friction. On top of that, the 15.3% tax trap targets your baseline earnings. Your capital is attacked from two directions. These forces work in tandem. If the cost of living rises by 5% and your tax burden removes another 15%, your labor must increase by 20% just to maintain the same standard of living you had the year before. The current financial architecture is built on these types of automated subtractions. Because of this, traditional saving methods often fail to create actual wealth. They merely slow the rate at which you lose it. To compensate for this internal drain, the system encourages purchasing liabilities. We buy things that lose value to project a status we haven't actually secured. This focus on looking wealthy often comes at the expense of equity. Without ownership, without a stake in the assets that produce value, you are simply a high-volume consumer in someone else's ecosystem. This cycle builds another man's empire. Every liability you subscribe to reinforces their foundation, while your own remains thin and exposed. The architecture of modern society functions best when you are compliant and exhausted. A person who is constantly working to outrun inflation and pay for liabilities has no time to build a system of their own. Dependency isn't a glitch in the system, it is a requirement. By following the standard behavioral script you've been handed, you provide the very energy that keeps your own dependency funded. To stop the extraction, you have to change your structural relationship with the economy. You need to move from an individual operator to an architect of assets. Think of this shift as the Billionaire OS. It is a different way of processing income, expenses, and ownership that prioritizes the retention of capital over the projection of status. The first step is building a financial firewall. You need a structure that stands between your personal efforts and the mechanisms of systemic drain we've identified. This is the LLC protocol. By moving your activities behind a corporate barrier, you separate your personal identity from your business assets. Notice how the incoming red arrows, representing specific taxes and personal liabilities, deflect off the structure rather than hitting you directly. Without this structural separation, your earnings remain personal income, which is the most heavily extracted form of capital in the system. The LLC provides the legal framework necessary to protect your growth from the baseline traps that catch everyone else. Once the structure is in place, the objective changes. Stop exchanging an hour of your life for a set amount of cash. Redirect your focus toward high-yield assets. As your LLC structure accumulates these blocks, they begin to generate their own growth lines. When commanded correctly, capital serves you. The growth feeds back into the assets, creating a self-sustaining cycle that no longer requires your manual labor. This requires precise execution. You must manage your finances with the same discipline that the system uses to extract them from you. Financial independence is not a vague dream, it is a structural result. It is what happens when your assets produce more than the machine can extract. Stop observing the trap and start building the exit. Create your structure, accumulate your assets, build your empire.